Hi, my name is Candice Turner, and today I will be showing you how to install a turbo wing on your saddle. So for this installation, we'll be using an 8mm open wrench, a 4mm hex wrench, and a torque wrench. Now once you open your box, you will have 2 packets and the carrier with some hardware already pre-installed. In this packet will be the straps and a helpful instruction sheet. And this bag will have your mounting hardware that we'll use to attach to the saddle rail. Now if you don't plan on putting a bag either underneath or at the back, then you can put this bag aside. So the easiest thing to do is to install your cages, and if you're going to have a bag at the back, install your straps on it first before we actually put the carrier onto the saddle. The first thing you want to do is to uninstall the hardware that already came on the carrier. And we're going to be putting our first strap on. Now, you'll put it on the other side of the stabilizer, which is right here, and then put the alloy plate right up against it. And at the same time, we're going to install our first cage. So you'll put your bolt that you took right off the carrier and put it through the cage and through everything, and making sure everything is lined up correctly. And then you can hand tighten. Now we'll be putting the bottom strap on. The first thing that you want to do is to select which angle of your bottle cage you would like. There's 5 different options. We're going to be using the second one from the back. So again, using the same process as the top, uninstall the hardware, put your strap between the stabilizer and the plate, and then line your cage up, and then thread your screw, making sure the washer's there. So now we have our first cage and our 2 straps loosely installed. You want to make sure you don't fully tighten it just yet. And you can see the straps are on one side of the stabilizer. Next, we'll take our second cage and install it on this side. So simply uninstall these 2 screws, thread the screw through the 2 holes. The second cage is now installed, and this will be the time that we now tighten all of the bolts. Using your open-ended wrench, clasp the stabilizer and tighten each one. Now you'll be activating the Loctite, which should set within 24 hours. For this next step, you'll need your small bag that came with the box, and it has the saddle rail clips. And we'll be installing the saddle rail clips on the turbo wing. Now the easiest thing is to take your seat post out and install the turbo wing directly on there, and then you can put your seat post back in. So as you can see here, I've readied these screws and put the lock washers on them already. It makes the install a whole lot easier. So you'll take your first saddle clip and install it on this first hole. So what you'll do is line up the holes together, take the first screw and thread it in. And you'll do the same thing on the other side. Take your saddle clip, put it inside, and thread the screw through. So we'll be flipping the saddle over as well as the turbo wing and installing the saddle rail clips on your rails. Now you'll want to check which angle you want your carrier at. We're going to be using the top hole because it's really good with this saddle. So you'll put the plate, flip the saddle rail around, take your screw with the lock washer already on it, and thread in and hand tighten. And we'll do the same thing on the other side as well. So now we have loosely installed the turbo wing onto the saddle rails, and the optimum angle is parallel, having the turbo wing parallel to the ground. And now we'll tighten all of the mounting hardware with your 4mm wrench, and then go back over the 4 bolts with the torque wrench and tighten it up to 30 inch-pounds. So now all of the bolts on the turbo wing and on the Gorilla Cage should be really tight, either torqued to the 30 inch-pounds or as tight as you can get it with your 4mm wrench. Next, we'll be installing the mini bag onto the back of your turbo wing. So the first thing you'll want to do is to line it up, put the bottom strap over, undo this fastening, thread it through the buckle, and strap it down. Now I like to do it loose at first, just so I can then position the bag, and then I will go back and retighten. So again, with the top strap, thread it through the buckle, and loosely strap down. And you can adjust it so that it's directly straight, and then go back and really strap it down. And another tip I like to do is tuck this flap down so it's not flapping in the wind when you're riding. And this bottom strap you can either cut off because you won't be needing it, or flatten down and tuck underneath. So the next thing we'll do is install the MEZZO bag onto the underneath part of the turbo wing, making sure that this zipper is on the exterior so you can access it. So you want to line the turbo wing up, unbuckle this clip, thread each side in between the turbo wing and out and over. Then we'll do the same thing with the other side. Taking this side out, going from the inside of the turbo wing up and over. Oops. There we go. And cinching both ends together. Right here. And then you can tighten if you need to. The next step will be to take this part of the strap, which will be wrapping around your seat post. We have a round seat post here, so you'll want to cut any excess off. Make sure this strap is super tight. Align everything up. And there you have it, the turbo wing with your 2 Gorilla Cages, a mini bag at the back, and a MEZZO bag underneath. The other option for your inflation is using the sonic net, which allows you to carry 2 CO2s and an inflator. Now this would go in place of the mini bag at the back. And we're not going to show you the install here because it's super easy. As you can see, there's a hole in the sonic net, and that hole you will use basically in place of the stabilizer. You'll uninstall the stabilizer, thread the 2 screws through the hole, and then you have a super aerodynamic inflation system at the back.